Yo, what is up, guys? So it's been a while since anyone has talked about Darklords, but Darklords actually work pretty well. Now, this is going to be a TCG only deck because we do need a card here that is actually banned. But anyways, the card that we're going to be talking about, you'll see in just a moment over here. But really what it comes down to is this is a new Link version of the Darklords. Now, this deck, it saw some popularity. A lot of people thought that this was a deck that had a lot of potential, and now with some of the new Link monsters, it definitely makes the deck more viable. One really important card is Scoldy, and in addition to that, the new Lightsworn card is actually a pretty good card in the deck as well, as you guys will see during some replays over here. And what I find interesting with this deck is it's just kind of a deck that I didn't expect to be one of these decks that can just go into straight, like, you know, the Link deck in Link format, because that's what everyone really wants their deck to be able to do. Pretty much, I would say, majority of decks nowadays, if you're not able to bust out, like, well, in this circumstance, he didn't happen to have Tri-Gate Wizard with the 3 zones. He just needed 1 more, which obviously with this card he could have done really easy. But for the most part, the deck is another deck that can do the Firewall, the Tri-Gate, and there's a lot of other cards that can go into it. I think Link Karibo is kind of the card that allows a lot of these decks to function really well, because it just lets you get rid of Level Eater and you can just get it back immediately and you can complete your Link Zone. I know we're going against Blue Eyes, which isn't the most meta of decks, but anyways, let's go ahead and check out some more plays from this over here. So shout out to Spectra for building this. Now, this is a better matchup. It's something a little bit more competitive. I know you guys are looking at Ojamas like, what the heck? I'm not even kidding, guys. Ojamas are pretty viable. With so many decks now, it's just who can throw out the more Link monsters like as fast as possible. It really helps out. And due to cards like Dark Grapher, you're just able to get Level Eater in the graveyard. Again, this is why it's a TCG only deck list, because this card is actually banned in the OCG. But anyways, yeah, like I said, the Scoldy is just an insane card. We didn't even see Grinder Golem out yet until now, but we're going to see it right now. And this card, it just does too much, I think, for the game. But even in the OCG, they've been playing this card like crazy. They even put it in their magazine. They even featured it. But now we got the Tri-Gate Wizard over here. And also, he has the ability over here to go ahead and activate that effect, target a Darklord spell or trap in the graveyard, apply that effect, and that's during either player's turn. So there's a lot of searchability. With the new Lightsworn card, you could just send any card that you want to the graveyard, and then later you're going to actually add a card back. You guys will see the Ojama player actually makes a Scoldy himself, so he can cycle through some cards, but he's going to have the Dark Lord Enchantment, which is actually going to go ahead and snatch steal a monster until the end phase, but he ends up making a Decode Talker and passing. Decode Talker, not the strongest of cards, but I mean, the guy still went off. I mean, I think if we go pause, we can go previous. Oh, okay, never mind, that doesn't work. They're still working on that. It's in beta. All right, what, we go into main phase. Hold on, what happens if we hit play? I broke it, guys. We broke it. All right, let's reopen it up. Whoa, what is that game? That game is a game we won't be playing on this channel. Anyways, so we saw it versus Ojamas. We're checking out versus the Spirals, but it's the not the regular Spirals, the Phantasm Spirals, or the Pacifist, the Phantasm City is the field spell over here. It's being activated. He's going to go ahead and get a token, and he's going to go ahead and search a card. This is a pretty interesting deck over here. But we see Reinforcement of the Army activated. It just really comes down to having Dark Grapher, and like the multiple copies of Allure of Darkness just really get the deck going really fast. I mean, you guys have seen, like, turn 1, he's going through like half of his cards, and in this case, he's pretty much just going through 30 plus cards, even though some of them are getting managed. But anyways, he's going to go ahead and start using that Level Eater, putting it to work, going for Security Dragon, bouncing back cards, and then he's going to go ahead and, again, Level Eater, but it gets stopped over there. He's got the Phantasm Spiral Bout, really good card. Just lets you just target a card your opponent controls and destroy it if all the monsters you control are normal monsters. And he's got this card that's going to bring out this card. Kind of cool to see this deck still in action, but we got 200 life points, and you best believe we are coming back with the Grinder Golem. Just such a fantastic card in any Link-based deck, but I'd say Darklords are relatively cheap. There was a few cards that spiked up in price, but I want to say that the deck is kind of under the radar right now. It's still, like, there are a few cards that are a little bit more pricey than I think some people would like them to be, but overall, I would say it's not on the same level as some cards are, like, you know, $50 plus. But we got Level Eater, and then of course the Trigate Wizard is out on board. This is a deck that I thought it was a kind of a cheesy deck. Like I said, there is a really good card in the deck, the Spiral Battle. I think that's one of their best cards. But he's able to activate the Spiral Power over here. And Trigate Wizard's going to have its effect negated. He's going to go ahead and boost that up, but he's going to go ahead and attack. He's going to take less damage over here. But this is a deck where I'd say like top decking can definitely be a task because you're playing so many vanilla monsters. Sometimes they're not the greatest of cards, but he's going to go ahead and activate. Oh, he's going for the Spiral Battle, so he's going to banish it. Then he's going to equip an appropriate card over there. But he just crashes into it, I guess, with the monsters left on the field. You guys already know what's going to happen. I think he may have done goofed over there. But, like I said, there's a few cards that drawing into isn't the most optimal of plays. But that's just how some decks are. Like, I remember back when I used to play, like, the Dino Rabbit deck, I always drew the vanillas, man. But we got it versus Utopia right now. And we're going to see it. I remember when this was a super popular deck, the Zexal Weapon ZW Utopia. But he's going to go ahead and make the Utopia. He's got the ZW. Lightning Blade that he's going to be able to equip to. He's equipping a bunch of cards to it. And we've got the 3700 attacker. And also, if the monster would be destroyed by a card effect, you can just destroy this card instead. And ZW cards, while this card is equipped to a monster, ZW cards you control can be destroyed by a opponent's card effect, but it's really not going to matter at the end of the day because you guys already know what's about to happen. We have the action, which is going to be bouncing back those cards, and then Grindr Golem going to be coming out and bouncing back things for days and getting more tokens so you can go into more links. It's just, I think really what it comes down to is Grindr Golem is probably going to be getting hit, but we got Scoldy out here. He's looking to cycle through cards. He's going to go ahead and go for the Nastine over here, and Level Eater once again off of Nastine. And it's kind of like the same like bread and butter play where we're going to be seeing multiple link monsters coming out. We got the Trigate Wizard, which actually has a pretty good effect. He's able to target a card on the field and just straight up banish it. And the guy, unfortunately, he's got no hand traps. Hand traps are still, like, super important in the game. And this is why Maxi was at 1. I don't know. It just seems a little bit backwards to me. I understand that, you know, if you go for a board and then you have Maxi, it's pretty devastating. But I think Maxi should be, like, if you control no monsters, I think that would be a pretty balanced effect. Or if it's like you control no like extra deck monsters, or if you only control like 1 or 2 monsters, maybe they'll errata it later down the line. But you guys saw like it doesn't really matter. He's busting up the Firewall Trigate Wizard, and it's pretty much game at this point. Once he goes for Scoldy, he's able to cycle through a bunch of cards. Now I know some of you guys might want the deck profile for the Darklords, so we're gonna go ahead and jump into the deck profile from the one that you guys just saw in the gameplays. But shout out to you for sending in the deck once again, and also just showcasing off this deck because I think it's a deck that a lot of people were interested in trying out. Because I remember when the Darklords were a prize card and they got reprinted, there's a bunch of people asking me to do like a deck of it, and it just really wasn't too hot of a deck. It just didn't do too well in terms of like performance. It was like lacking a lot of cards is really what it comes down to. But they're much better now with, of course, new support. And due to links, and also like technically there's triple copies of Lord of Darkness if you wanted to play 3, and I'd say the deck can be really fast, as you guys saw. I mean, turn 1 and 2, he's going through like half of his deck or plus more. Anyways, so let's go ahead and jump into the deck profile. So we have 3 copies of Ichil over here, or Ixchil, as it's pronounced. Some people prefer that pronunciation. But anyways, we got 3 Grindr Golem because it's a link deck. You gotta play 3. And have even Gofu wouldn't be that bad of an option. Although I think Grindr Golem is just a more optimal card. Just Gofu just happens to be a dark also, so you can alert darkness hit. But anyways, 3 copies of Grindr Golem. We have 2 copies of Superbia. This one, I guess it can kind of explain the Darklords, because I've actually tried to play them multiple times with that. Actually, I played like a Chaos variant of Darklords. But anyways, so this card is special summon from the graveyard. You target a fairy monster in your graveyard except for itself, and special summon it. So this one gets you other cards and just lets you start up your Level Eater just for days, really is what it comes down to. Next up we have Serato. This was a really old Dark Lord. I'm not a real fan of him. He does have that effect where if you have 4 more dark monsters with different names in your graveyard, you could tribute some of this by attributing 1 dark monster, which you can spam like Level Eaters and stuff for days. And then also you can send 1 dark monster from your hand to the graveyard, destroy all monsters your opponent controls. And then once per turn during the end phase, if this effect was activated this turn, you destroy the card. It's just kind of like another target that can work well. I've seen Dark Lord builds that do run trade-in, so if you want to try that out, feel free to go ahead and do so. I mean, I feel like most of the time, I'm not a fan of Dark Lord Serato. We didn't really see it effect be activated, but it can. I do gotta say, it can win you games, but overall, I would say it's just not that consistent to pull it off. Next up, we have Nascene over here. So you discard 2 other Darklord cards to special summon this card from your hand, but don't worry about going minus with it, because some of the cards, you're going to be able to actually activate them from the graveyard, and then you put them back and you can activate the effects. But anyways, so you pay 1,000 life points, and you target a Darklord spell and trap in your graveyard, and you play that target's effect, then shuffle that target into the deck. You can only use this effect about once per turn. So, like I said, the going minus doesn't really matter, because with him you can basically get an effect anyways by paying 1,000 life points. Next up, and then before someone says, why are you playing 46 with Upstart? I feel like in this build, I really don't think Upstart is necessary, but the deck does technically go through a ton of cards super fast. I understand in some decks, for example, like the Magical Musketeers where you're playing Upstart, it does kind of help because you're still technically getting another card. However, in this build, he did play it, and I wanted to showcase it as it was originally. But like I said, the deck can go relatively fast. Next up, we have M. Dusk over here. So you can discard this card and 1 Darklord card, then target 1 Darklord card in your graveyard, add it to your hand, and then during either player's turn, you pay 1,000 life points, select a Darklord spell trap, and then you apply that effect, and you shuffle that target into the deck. So basically, a lot of the cards let you recycle. Like I said, I feel like Upstart is kind of unnecessary in the deck, but that's my take on it. Next up, we got 1 Greffer. You're able to go through your deck relatively fast anyways, and you have Roller to search it out. I wouldn't mind playing 2 Dark Greffers. If you guys want to try that out, you guys can let me know how that goes. And then next up, we have Yugioh Box over here. So it's normal or special. You can just send 1 Darkler card from your deck to your graveyard, which can be whatever spell that you really want to activate for your other cards. It can copy their effects, essentially. Technically, I didn't go over Ixchel's effect, but I felt like Ixchel was like a main card. There were some more obscure cards that I kind of wanted to go over, but since this is a deck profile, I guess apologies for skipping around. But Ixchel has the effect where you can discard this card and 1 Darklord card to draw 2 cards. It's just cycling through the deck, and on top of that, you can bring it back. And it has that effect during the other player's turn. You pay 1,000. We actually did see that one during the gameplay, but a lot of them have that effect anyways. But next up, this card lets you send 1, so you get to copy whatever. Then we have 4 hand traps. We're playing 2 copies of Ash Blossom and 2 copies of Ghost Ogre, 2 copies of Level Eater, 2 copies of Allure of Darkness, 1 for 1, which is going to get you Level Eater, 3 copies of the Dark Lord contract, so it'll let you special summon 1 Dark Lord monster from your graveyard in defense position, which doesn't really hurt you at all because you can still play aggressive with, of course, the Link monsters. Then we got Reinforcement of the Army, 3 copies of Pot of Desires. You want to go fast in this deck. Like I said, I personally would cut out Upstart. I would try to cut the deck down to 40 and also just play 3 Allure of Darkness because you could just play triple Level Eater at that point. You could run multiple Greffers if you wanted to go for like an even faster build, even though the deck, like I said, is already pretty fast. But this build does play the trade-ins, and that is perhaps why we got 46 cards. Like I said, you guys can feel free to make adjustments to your liking. But next up, we got the 1 Upstart, 1 Foolish Burial, 3 copies of Banishment of the Darklords. So this one that lets you add a Darklord card from your deck to an absolutely amazing card. And then we got 2 copies of Twin Twisters, 2 copies of Darklord Rebellion. So this is a tripod that says you send 1 Darklord monster from your hand or face up on the field to the graveyard, destroy 1 card in the field. You can just get rid of problematic cards. I feel like Twin Twisters could be bumped up if you wanted to be a little bit faster. I like this card. It can be definitely a pretty decent card, but I don't really like going too minus because obviously you have to send 1 Darklord monster from your hand or face up to the graveyard. And usually with this variant of the deck, I feel like you're just going to go for your Link monsters, and obviously if they're in your hand, you're just going to go kind of minus. I wish it was a Darklord card because then it could be the spell and trap, but yeah, that's an unfortunate part of it. And then we have the Darklord Enchantment over here. So you send 1 Darklord monster from your hand or face on the field to the graveyard, and you get to take control of 1 face of monster your opponent controls until the end phase. I really like this card. However, again, I feel like the one thing that I don't like with this card in this build of the Link build of Darklords is that you kind of go minus because you want to try to make that like really good Link board. Again, the standard Link board pretty much is like the combinations of these 2 cards and then like 1 really other powerful card. As you guys saw during the replays, Skulddeep, you have the Dominion of the Light Sword, and then sometimes you have like a Proxy Dragon or something. It's just basically so you can have the Tri-Gate Wizard hopefully have like all the Link zones covered up, so you get to negate something, bounce something back, you get an additional summon. Like there's a lot of just play with that. But anyways, then we have one Solemn Warning here. Feel free to mix up the traps. Like I said, I personally, for me, I would just drop these. I mean, again, I wanted to showcase it off as it was originally intended. I would probably bump up Grepher, but I like to make my decks as fast as possible. We're going Sonic Heroes here. But anyways, for the extra deck, we got number 38, the Titanic Galaxy. Then we got Heretic Sun Dragon and Overload of Heliopolis. Then we have Scoldy, Firewall Dragon, Trigate Wizard, the Dominion of Lightsworn, Electric Magician, Binary Sorceress, Double Proxy Dragon, 1 Security Dragon, 1 Link Spider, triple Link Rebo, because that's going to help you out with your Level Eater combos, your Grinder Golem combos, to let you really set up for that. But really cool to see that Darklords are able to keep up with the whole like Link. I don't know what to call this. You guys help me out with the name of what we should call like decks that can be like Link decks, if that makes sense. Because I feel like so many of these decks, whether it's 6 Samurais or whatever, like every deck in Yu-Gi-Oh pretty much needs to like be able to do something along the lines of bringing out these guys. Otherwise, you really lose out on making a very powerful turn 1 play. But anyways, it's the Darklord Link deck. But hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing the new Darklord Link deck in action. Because like I said, when these got reprinted, I had a lot of requests for it. But even when these guys got printed, I tried out the deck. I thought it was meh. But with the links, I think it really makes the deck just so much better. It really does. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button to see more new Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks updated for the Link format.